Visit with the folks from the city of College Station on Fridays, and Bobby's here this morning from the city. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great. Brought a guest with you?
I sure do. I have Councilmember Yancy here, so he's here today to visit with us.
Good morning. Welcome back.
Thank you, Scott. It's good to be here.
You guys doing anything fun over there?
Oh my gosh, a lot of policy bouncing around in my head. There's a lot going on, and I'm happy to say the vast majority of it is really good news. So.
Yep. I want to talk just for a minute about the ballparks because we have some news stories about that today, and it looks like the mayor was in discussing this. It looks like you found, at least for the time being, something. Are you fairly comfortable with the decision of adding parks at an existing park at Veterans Park?
I am. Staff, I've been struck by how fast and professionally our staff have moved on that. And when we had the soil problem out there, they immediately began looking for alternatives. I engaged with what I'll refer to as the baseball community, and they really need something. And it's tough to take steps backwards when you make a promise or a commitment you're going to move forward with something as the prior council did. I think it would have been a mistake for us not to take swift action, and that's exactly what this staff and this council have done.
So let's look at the problems that you have in the soil, and the mayor was in to discuss it. This is a wider problem than we thought it was going to be because any kind of construction that goes on, and you're going to have some road improvements out there in the future. That base is going to be more expensive. That contract is going to end up being a higher cost than you thought. Plus, if you have any rooftops or any other development out there, simply because of the condition of that soil, it's going to be a problem for the city.
Yeah.
You thought you had a solution. That was not the case. Is there a possibility of legal action when this is all said and done that the city really didn't have the correct and proper information before they move forward?
Well, I asked that question, and there's always that possibility. I don't want to comment directly to it. I just will say, as one member of council, it's very unfortunate. The city pays a lot of money in design and analysis, soil testing, in order to get these things right. And I've investigated it pretty hard, and from what I can tell, our city staff did everything they were supposed to do, and they relied upon that data. So, the good news is that we put $5 million worth of infrastructure in the ground over there, and because city staff have moved so swiftly in finding an alternative use for it, none of that infrastructure went to waste. You talked to the mayor about the restroom facility out there. We've got power, we got water, we got sewer in the ground. All of that is going to be utilized, so the taxpayers can rest assured that none of their money went to waste, and we're going to have a quality product on the ground out there.
Bob Yancy's College Station City Council with us this morning. I know that the development around the former Texas World Speedway, the utilities are not College Station utilities. That's a place where you're not getting a chance to make that revenue, and that hurts, and I know you want to minimize that. I do not know. Is there any place in the city limits of College Station? I guess Welborn Water is what I'm thinking of. Does Welborn Water, other than the city of Welborn, do they supply water to anybody else within the city limits of College Station?
Yeah, they do. They supply water to myself. And we're always in strategic discussions with Welborn Water. Back when they used to rank superior water systems, there was a sign on either end of the highway coming into College Station. We were a superior water system. And even though you don't still have that ranking and you have to make those postings, in my estimation, we still are. And I think Welborn Water is a rural water system that's strained and could use our help. We're an urban water system that, maybe we're challenged relative to getting to some rural areas. So, we're always working in coordinating.
What does help mean?
It means working hand in hand in order to address the strategic water needs of the city of College Station and outlying areas for decades to come.
Oh, the reason I ask is because you and I are both have been here long enough to know the last time College Station helped. A lot of people in Welborn got really angry about that because you took them over. But as the city continues to grow, those are the kind of things from an infrastructure standpoint that you do have to think about.
Absolutely, and we do. I love the intellectual debates with our city manager, and we have a lot of them. And I can tell you he's a very future-focused individual and a strategic-minded individual. I like to think I am too. And I know our council is, my colleagues there, and we have discussions like that all the time.
You're going to have the new state representative who's going to be over there in Austin, hopefully doing the things that will be good for the cities. Have you been in touch with the folks in Austin to see what may be on the agenda for the upcoming session that could impact the city of College Station?
Not well. There's discussion around land use and other things. You've got a rare meeting of the minds between both sides of the political aisle, and so I would expect there's going to be probably further curtailment in municipal land use. I think that's unfortunate. I think a lot of times the state of Texas, the legislature passes laws meant to get at overzealous cities, and when they do, or school districts for that matter, and when they do that, they catch up a lot of the high-performing school districts and municipalities that are doing the right thing by their citizens. And they're also, when they do that, they're violating a core tenet of conservatism, which is, government closest to the people best serves the people. And so I'm going to be talking to the gentleman that I believe, I know him, I call him friend, that I believe will probably prevail in that contest. And there's a lot of things relative to particularly city finance that, we need to look at. This business of two different buckets of money, one to build things, one to run things. If a city is at a tax rate where it could effectively manage its money without the reins of government, ironically, conservative government, telling them how they could use that, then that would open up a whole new world of flexibility and efficiency with tax dollars that I would like to see us be able to do.
Pretty interesting concept. Let's talk about neighbors to the north. There's some discussion this week about what you should charge for use of facilities. Should it be different from residents in College Station than it should from residents who aren't in College Station?
Well, I've found that a lot of, not all of them, but a lot of our fees and assessments and things that we do, they wind up normalizing between the two cities. So I don't, have any stare at the ceiling moments at night wondering about the differential in fees between the city of Bryan and the city of College Station. They've got a great city. They run it well. They're doing exciting things over there. I'm very proud for them. I'm focused on what the city of College Station is doing.
Bob Yancy with us this morning, the city of College Station. You passed a RUE this week.
Yes, sir.
Your thoughts about that? Is that the first of many, or what's the future hold?
Well, I do harbor, some concerns. On the one hand, I'm very proud. Once again, it's a theme for me in these 2 years on council, coming up on 2 years, of how swiftly we have moved to address a lot of the challenges that we face, and housing is, certainly one of those. But in so doing, a lot of those decisions, I believe, have been, accretive to housing cost and reducing housing supply or constraining it, a little bit. For the most part, the market is the market, and it's going to do what it's going to do. But I do want us to start focusing, now that we've put all the policy in place to handle the Ag Shack problem, and everybody knows what an Ag Shack is, like Xerox copy or Coke. I'm just going to use Ag Shack because it's simple.
Yeah.
We put all the policy in place to resolve that problem. Now I think we need to start looking at how do we amp up supply of housing. I want young families like my family to have the opportunity to have their piece of the American dream in College Station, Texas. And the first house my wife and I bought in this town back in the early 90s cost $75,000. If I control for inflation on the price of that house, it should cost about $160,000. You can't buy a house in College Station for $160,000. Now, we're government. I'm not a believer in command economies, of course, and the market is the market. But there are things we can do to tinker at the margin to help in this area. And,
I'm listening.
Well, I think we can look at waiving impact fees or reducing impact fees and park fees for homes that come in at an entry price point that is affordable for a young family, and we can incentivize that through a plan development, maybe a special policy that we put in place to incentivize these builders to build an affordable product out there, and I think that will help. We can really amp up, and I want to talk about it a little bit today,
Sure.
the availability of rental housing for students, because if suddenly all these students are displaced via these policies that we put in place, that's going to have a a dampening effect of supply that's going to trickle upward, and it's going to have an effect that concerns me a little bit. So we need to be taking equal and opposite reactions to our policy constraints relative to student housing. And we've done that. We've got over 1,000 properties that we rezoned to middle housing, the largest single city-initiated rezoning in history. Michael Ostrowski, a brilliant planner. He's not in planning anymore. Congrats to Anthony Armstrong, our new planning and development director. But Ostrowski put this plan together that is really incredible. And my concern this morning in my public service announcement to any of your listeners that own rental property, if you're in the correct zoning and you're serving as an ag shack today, that doesn't mean you can continue to serve that property as an ag shack going forward. There's still a couple of things you have to do. So applicants need to submit a minor site plan application to change the use of that property to a shared housing designation. And the clock is running. They need to get this done by June. The city has waived fees for the application, and all you need are a couple of documents: a minor site application. Your fees are waived. You need a site plan and a floor plan, which everybody has for their property. Reach out to the city, submit those documents, because just because you're in middle housing or just because you're in a high occupancy overlay, if that house or structure is not designated as shared housing, you're in violation of the law after June. And so they need to get busy. I think we got 140 properties out of some 1,107 that could be. They need to get busy, and I think we need to be banging the drum and putting that out there.
All right, first step, who at the city they need to get in touch with, and how do they do that?
Well, Anthony Armstrong used to be the guy. Now that he's the head honcho over there, he's probably got somebody else that'll be taking front line, and I don't know who that is yet.
Okay.
But it just call City Hall, and they're very communicative. They'll get you where you need to be. People have a responsibility, property owners. I'm in this business too, and it's the responsibility of the property owner to know the laws and regulations around. Do that research, get with the city. Your fees are waived. We're going to fast track them to the best extent we can, provided they fit all categories. They got enough parking, et cetera, et cetera.
All right. Always good to talk to you. You've always got a lot of stuff. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
You bet. What else you got for us, Bobby?
All right. Well, just one reminder that Starlight Music Series is tomorrow. So if there's anything going on with the weather, be sure to check out